When the Two Blue Vortex manga first started, Kawaki was seen as one of the weakest characters around. We saw him get beat up by Boruto relatively quickly, and we also saw that Hidari could easily react to Kawaki, even when Kawaki tried to catch him off guard. And of course we saw Jura basically two-shot him and knock him out. Everything during the initial chapters of Two Blue Vortex made Kawaki seem fodder, and a lot of people wrote him off. However, with the more recent chapters being released, it's been made clear that Kawaki is actually way more powerful than we were initially led to believe. Believe it or not, right now Kawaki rivals or potentially surpasses a hypothetical time-skip Borishiki. He hasn't directly shown his full Borishiki levels of power yet, but the story has been telling us for a while now that Kawaki was going to reach this point, and it was basically confirmed to us by Boruto himself. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the full video as I go through Kawaki scaling step by step and show you how basically everything was confirmed to us. Alright, so most of you probably already know that for the first 18 or so chapters, Kawaki did not have his powers at their fullest extent. Amato specifically put limiters on Kawaki's offensive capabilities, so Kawaki being slow and his attacks getting reacted to weren't really his fault, and those events don't affect how Kawaki currently scales at all in any way. It should be noted though that even in his limited state, it's thought that Amato made Kawaki just strong enough to be able to defend the village against a cold attack. So even in his limited state, he's still stronger than a character like Jigen, which is pretty crazy to think about, but let's get back on topic. Before Boruto brought up Kawaki's powers being limited, Boruto was talking about how after the Shinju are dealt with, if Momoshiki were to emerge and take over his body, he would want Kawaki to kill him. Right here is where the story begins setting up the idea that Boruto wants Kawaki to be able to defeat Momoshiki if he emerges. He then says, in order to defeat Momoshiki, Kawaki would need to be a lot stronger than he is. Then he brings up Kawaki's powers being limited. Fast forwarding to after Kawaki confronted Amato and forced Amato to release his limiters, Kawaki pulled up to save Boruto from getting killed by Jura, and when Kawaki started activating his karma, he tells Boruto to make sure Momoshiki doesn't emerge, otherwise he'll have to kill him. If you guys were paying attention, this statement is clearly a callback to the previous conversation they had, where Boruto told Kawaki if he wanted to kill Momoshiki, he would need to have more power to do so. Kawaki telling Boruto that he will kill Momoshiki if he emerges is also him and the story itself confirming to us that Kawaki got the previously mentioned power up. Boruto then has a front row seat to watch Kawaki fight Jura, and he's able to see just how strong Kawaki is with his new powers, and this is important for what I'm about to bring up next. By the way, I know I showed earlier Kawaki saying he wants his powers to be drawn out to their fullest extent, but later it actually said that he wants Amato to draw his powers beyond all limits, which to me seems like it'd be way more power compared to just drawing out his power to his limits. After Boruto saw Kawaki's new powers against Jura, Boruto goes to talk with Momoshiki. Boruto then offers Momoshiki his body in exchange for being able to use the karma. A lot of people don't realize this, but the only reason Boruto is willing to give his body to Momoshiki is because he saw Kawaki's new powers and thinks Kawaki will be able to defeat Momoshiki when the time comes. It all comes back to the original statement where Boruto literally told Kawaki that he may need to defeat Momoshiki. If you need more evidence that Boruto himself thinks Kawaki would be able to defeat a hypothetical Borishiki, Momoshiki also confirms this is what Boruto thinks. Momoshiki says, "So then, once the divine trees are eradicated, Kawaki will come calling to kill me. It won't be as easy as that, fool." Momoshiki saying it won't be as easy as that, fool, directly confirms Boruto thinks that will happen because we know Momoshiki and Boruto's thoughts are completely transparent to each other, so he can see that is what Boruto thinks. Even though Momoshiki himself may think he can defeat Kawaki, Boruto and Kawaki thinks Kawaki can defeat Momoshiki. That's two people's opinions over one, and I think when it comes to scaling, we need to take the majority consensus of the characters, unless there's some out-of-universe real statement about a specific topic like this. So if you've been with me so far, hopefully you agree that there's direct narrative stating that the version of Kawaki that fought Jura is Borishiki level, since Boruto is literally willing to risk his body over Kawaki being that strong. It gets even crazier from here too, because after the fight with Jura, Kawaki goes back to Amato and tells him that he needs more power. He basically forces Amato to do it too. There's really no arguing about it. And we even see Kawaki on the table with Amato seemingly over him, upgrading him. According to Jura, Kawaki's power was exponentially and incomparably higher than before, and it's possible that the second upgrade he got is just as massive. The version of Kawaki that's fighting Mamushi right now could be far stronger than the version of Kawaki that was already considered a rival to Isshiki. The narrative power cliffing in Two Blue Vortex is pretty crazy. Besides the, in my opinion, overwhelming narrative evidence that suggests Kawaki is on par with or stronger than Isshiki, there's also some feats too. We actually did see Kawaki fight Isshiki in the past, and in that fight, we saw that they were very relative to each other. Now granted, even though they were relative in this fight, you could still argue both weren't at full capacity. At this time, Boruto wasn't a complete Otsutsuki yet. He only became a complete Otsutsuki after the fight when Momoshiki used the rest of the karma on him. It's possible, and I'd say likely, that having a full Otsutsuki as a vessel would increase the power Momoshiki has when he takes over the body. We can also say Kawaki at that time wasn't at full capacity, because we can see that he didn't have his eyes fully progressed, and having fully progressed eyes in itself is probably an amp. Still, with both characters having their own kind of setback, they were relative, so Kawaki and Momoshiki being on par with each other now in the story would make sense, especially considering Kawaki's no longer nerfed and he's been getting crazy power upgrades by Amada. Alright, so that's gonna really wrap up the video. Kawaki right now basically low diffs every character, ranging from the start of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, to the latest chapter of Two Blue Vortex. I mean, scaling to a hypothetical timeskip Borishiki is something that most characters couldn't even dream of doing. Like, right now, go comment if you think any character realistically scales to timeskip Borishiki. The only character you could really say is Damon, but that's a video in itself if we're being honest. I believe Kawaki is going to awaken a Shinjutsu from Shibai, just like how Code awakened a Shinjutsu, even though he had a karma. Kawaki definitely should have been implanted with his own Shibai cells, and I think it'd be a shame if he didn't awaken his own Shinjutsu to compete with the Jogan. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. I'm really interested to see how Kawaki's going to progress, and I hope the story doesn't just fumble him at the end, like I really hope it doesn't. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it, and do subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching.